Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, the 14th of April. This week in which we are now is what we call Holy Week. And today is the beginning of a very important series of services, and I'll explain a little more about that shortly. But today is what we call Maundy Thursday. It's the day we remember Jesus giving us the instruction of this incredible fellowship meal or Holy Communion, the Eucharist, based, I would suggest, possibly a little loosely on the Passover meal, but also perhaps something along the lines of a Seder meal. But certainly Jesus saying this bread that we will be sharing together represents my body. And as you partake in this bread, so you partake in all that is going to happen to me shortly. I'm not sure the disciples fully understood what was going to happen to Jesus shortly. And then he shared the cup with him, and he said, all that drink this cup of wine with me share in what is to come. The bread representing my body and the wine representing my blood. Of course, we know that Jesus is talking about his death, and we know also that Jesus is talking about his resurrection. And in a sense, that should be a clue, because we can't talk about the death of Jesus unless we talk about his resurrection. We cannot talk about the resurrection if we don't also talk about his death. And so it is that the death of Jesus, in a sense, the whole saga and drama that leads up to it begins on this day, Maundy Thursday, particularly in the evening as Jesus shares the fellowship meal with his friends. He leaves thereafter and is arrested. But also incredibly significantly, at the start of that meal, Jesus washes the feet of his disciple. God comes to his people and washes their feet. And the feet that he washed were the feet of Judas, who later betrayed him, in fact had already betrayed him. And I really do believe Jesus knew that already, even though no one else did. And Jesus did not refer to that. He washed the feet of Judas. He washed the feet of Simon Peter, who later that evening and into the early hours of Friday morning would actually betray Jesus 3 times. Not betray him, I beg your pardon, but deny him 3 times. And Jesus washed the feet of Simon Peter. Does Jesus not also, through the great love God has for us, wash our feet and offer himself to us? And so the events of Maundy Thursday start the beginning of an incredible drama, an incredible liturgy, an incredible flow of events that spans 3 days. And so the main line or old line churches refer to this as the Triduum, the 3 days, or as some would want to say, the 3 great days, starting with Maundy Thursday service, remembering Jesus washing his feet, the celebration of the Eucharist, remembering Jesus' death and the disciples in absolute fear and consternation, scattering and running away. Those that followed, John and Peter, kind of crept about in the darkness on the outskirts, watching to see what would happen. So that marks what happens on the Thursday, and it's significant because all of this is pertinent to his death that happened the very next day, which we call Good Friday, the death of Jesus. But it's good for us because Jesus' death is our salvation. But we can't talk about the death, as I shared at the beginning, without also talking about the resurrection. So we remember the death of Jesus. And again, certainly for us in the Anglican Church and in our church up here in Limpopo, we'll do a 3-hour service. We're permitted to do it now. Isn't that wonderful? A 3-hour service tomorrow afternoon. We have a service this evening at 6. Tomorrow afternoon, 3 hours, as we, in a very lamentful way, remember what Jesus did for us. He was on the cross for a lot more than 3 hours, but those final 3 hours of his life, the earth was plunged into darkness, and we remember this through 3 hours of service, multiple addresses, some 6 addresses. And then on Saturday, or Holy Saturday, we remember Jesus being now in the tomb and lying there, but we anticipate that something special will happen in the early hours of Sunday morning, his resurrection from the dead. And of course, that brings us to the Sunday, which is now outside of the 3 great days. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But we anticipate throughout what is going to happen on the early hours of Sunday morning. And as we celebrate Jesus' resurrection from the dead, we can't help but stop and pause and remember those final instructions Jesus gave to us for the Eucharist on Maundy Thursday, today, and all that he did for us. And we remember his teaching. We remember how his disciples, and in a sense, you and I represented in that, scatter and run away in the face of trouble and persecution and hardship. We remember Jesus on the cross alone, dying for our sins. Yeah, he had those two criminals on either side of him, but he died alone. His disciples standing at a distance. In the final hours, of course, his mother Mary was there, a few of the other women, amazing how the woman always the bravest, and John was there, the disciple John, others watching from a distance or gone, scattered. And then those empty days, the rest of Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday of Jesus in the tomb, the cold, dark tomb, and then he rises from the dead. And so we celebrate over Easter, but we celebrate with a real knowledge and awareness of what God, through Jesus, did for us. So folks, we'll chat again probably only next week because with all the services and holidays coming up, I won't be in the office, but certainly we'll be thinking of you, and please do think of us and the services that we do. Have a wonderful Easter. We'll chat again next week. God bless.